The state's biggest business lobby just broke with precedent to back a Democrat, and Steve Hilton's already swinging back like a populist. If you're just joining us, California's governor's race is down to a November matchup, Democrat Xavier Becerra against Republican Steve Hilton. Hilton's been pushing hard for a one-on-one debate. Becerra's team has been wary of giving him a stage for misinformation, and there's still an election fraud narrative hanging over the race, even though Hilton himself has said he saw no evidence of significant fraud.
This is the first big general election move. Cal chamber money, GOP fury, and a nervous left flank all hitting at once. Sarah, let's start with what it actually does to Hilton. If you want to keep up with Becerra-Hilton general election, tap follow so the next episode lands in your feed.
Here's KDH News.
The California Chamber of Commerce bucked precedent when it endorsed the Democrat, Xavier Becerra, for governor last week. Becerra said he was honored by their backing and touted it in 2 press releases. But Republican rival Steve Hilton slammed the group for political opportunism. At the same time, progressive and labor groups that often find themselves at odds with the chamber are avoiding jumping to conclusions, saying the move speaks more to the group's quest for relevance than Becerra's politics.
Cal Chamber backing Becerra really does break precedent. This is a group that doesn't usually endorse Democrats for governor, and now it's in writing, twice, in Becerra's own press releases.
And follow the money under it. The Chamber, Meta, Chevron, PG&E, north of $52 million toward Becerra and against Steyer in the final weeks. That kind of spending says the business universe picked a horse.
That lands right on the economic terrain Hilton chose. His whole Cal-affordable pitch was about being the business-minded pragmatist, and the state's leading business lobby just handed that credential to the other guy.
So Hilton goes to the Wall Street Journal and calls it corporate Stockholm syndrome. When your closing argument is that the business community has been brainwashed by its captors, the crossover lane's gotten pretty narrow.
So that's the new fault line in this general. Business backs Becerra, and Hilton calls it corporate surrender. But read the other half. Progressives and labor aren't celebrating. They see the chamber chasing relevance, not Becerra moving their way.
That's the part I'd push on. Business is all in. The left flank is uneasy. And in a state where November turnout lives or dies on base enthusiasm, a flat progressive wing can turn a win into a turnout problem.
Here's CNN.
The top contenders for California governor go back and forth at East LA College in a live debate co-moderated by CNN's Caitlin Collins and Elix Michelson. This was recorded on May 5th, 2026.
This CNN debate tape is from May 5th, back when Hilton could stand on that East LA stage and sell, "My whole career has been about affordability," as a clean crossover pitch.
And hear it now, after the piece we just hit. Hilton says affordability, and the state's biggest business lobby just publicly handed that exact credential to Becerra instead.
Right. That's what curdled since May. In the debate, Hilton's whole lane was business-minded pragmatist. Cal Chamber walking to Becerra basically puts a fence across that lane.
But listen to the other line on that stage. "I'm a billionaire who wants to tax billionaires." Becerra still has to keep that progressive flank happy while the chamber's vouching for him. Different room, same coalition.
And that's the November math people keep skipping. Business is all in. The left's wary. You can't bank donor momentum and base enthusiasm at the same time if they're glaring at each other.
From Logan Phillips at Race to the WH.
The 2 candidates with the most votes will advance to the November general election. While Democrats would be heavily favored in the general election, there is a slim but real risk that they could get locked out if 2 Republicans finish on top. A possibility because Republican voters have largely coalesced around 2 candidates, while Democratic voters are divided across a larger field of candidates.
So the polling average finally gets honest with itself. Anything taken before Swalwell imploded is now half-weighted. Good call, because the pre-Swalwell numbers are basically from a different race.
And that explains the Becerra surge pretty cleanly. He didn't out-campaign anyone. He inherited a vacuum. The Attorney General was sitting in the second tier until the misconduct allegations cleared the lane.
Here's the risk people aren't pricing in, though. Democrats are still splintered across a wide field, while Republicans coalesced behind two names. In a top two primary, that math can lock a Democrat out entirely.
Which pairs pretty awkwardly with the chamber endorsement we just hit. Institutional Democrats consolidating behind Becerra, while Democratic voters are still split four ways. The elites are aligned, the base isn't.
Right, and that's the contrarian read. Business is all in on Becerra, the left flank's nervous, and the turnout math still depends on a divided field showing up. I'm not calling this decided off a re-weighted average.
From ABC 10.
President Donald Trump has endorsed Republican candidate Steve Hilton in California's race for governor, a move that could reshape the primary and general election landscape. Trump praised Hilton in a social media post, saying he believes Hilton can turn the state around.
The Trump endorsement of Hilton from back in April has a timing problem now. It helped in a Republican primary. After the Cal Chamber piece we just hit, it weighs him down.
Right. Trump praised Hilton, said he could turn the state around. That plays in the primary. In a general where the business lobby just walked to Becerra, a Trump stamp is the opposite of crossover appeal.
And that's the squeeze. Hilton built the Cal-affordable pitch to win persuadable independents on cost of living. In California, you can't court the business-minded moderate and wear a Trump endorsement at the same time. The math fights itself.
I'd keep one thing straight, though, Adam. This ABC 10 post is dated April 7th. The endorsement itself is old. The context changed. The institutional ground under Hilton shifted this week, and the Trump tie reads differently now than it did in spring.
If you're following the governor's race, you might also like Los Angeles politics and urbanism daily. City Hall, housing abundance, homelessness response, metro, public safety, and small business permitting. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll find links to every story we covered today in the show notes. So if one caught your ear, you can dig in there. That's California governor's race for today. This is a Lantern podcast.